charge less than that.
Hello guys, we're off to play our character Bornhold.
Nynaeve agreed as if she were still not entirely sure, and Islwyn tied those platforms
share my screen.
claws, she called them, and hurried out.
So we're off for my character Bornhold. He is level. How do you check your character sheet?
You are learning how to be Aes Sedai, Mariam, she said as she turned from the window.
You press.
You manipulate people as well as
You can either press this, or you can press.
Elaine stalked across the floor and slapped Egwene's face. Egwene was so shocked she could only stare.
So he is a level 23 paladin.
The golden-haired woman said sharply.
He could do more damage for his level, but his attack rating's pretty good.
We'll surely die together. Did you give Islwyn your true name?
Not together.
Nynaeve told her what we could, that we seek dark friends, and that was risk enough, linking up with dark friends.
Get rid of it, press C again. Let's check our inventory by pressing I. This is what I thought. Highly full. Let's go talk to Deckard Cain.
Egwene rubbed her cheek gingerly. Elaine had a strong arm. I do not like having to do it. I know, Elaine sighed. Neither do I, but we do have to.
He will identify any item you have for free.
But I do not have to like it. Chapter 49. A storm in Tyr.
And this is Farah. She's about the only one I go to besides Drognin and the mercenary guy.
When Islwyn returned, she had a man with her, a lean fellow in his middle years who looked as if he had been carved from aged wood. Jewelin Sandar took off his clogs by the door and hung his flat, conical straw hat on a peg. A sword breaker, much like Huron's, but with short slots to either side of the long one, hung from a belt over his brown coat, and he carried a staff exactly as tall as he was, but not much thicker than his thumb, and made of that pale wood, like rigid joints, that the ox drivers used for their goads.
Holy crap.
His short-cut black hair lay flat on his head.
I think I'm going to keep that. I can use that for something else.
Every detail of the room.
He'll stamina by 25%.
Egwene would have bet he examined Nynaeve twice, and to her at least, Nynaeve's lack of reaction was blatant. It was obvious she knew it too. Islwyn motioned him to a place at the table where he turned back the cuffs of his coat sleeves, bowed to each of them in turn, and sat with his staff propped against his shoulder, not speaking until the gray-haired woman had made a fresh pot of tea, and everyone had sipped from their cups. Mother Gwenna has told me of your problem, he said quietly as he set his cup down. I will help you if I can, but the High Lords may have their own business to put me to soon.
That's not
the
bad.
big woman snorted. Jewelin, when did you begin haggling like a shopkeeper trying to charge silk prices for linen?
Sorry, guys.
Do not claim you know when the High Lords will summon you before they do. I won't claim it, Sandar told her with a smile. But I know when I've seen men on the rooftops in the night, just out of the corner of my eye. They can hide like pipefish in reeds, but I've seen the movement. No one has reported a theft yet, but there are.
So we're gonna go here to my stash, and I personally said I wanted to keep it, so I'm gonna have to go through my necromancer stuff.
Or even Lord's matters. The defenders may guard the street, but when thieves need tracking, they send for a thief catcher, and me before any other. I'm not trying to drive up my price, but whatever I do for these pretty women, I must do soon. I believe he speaks the truth, Islwyn said reluctantly. He'll tell you the moon is green and water white if he thinks it will bring him a kiss, but he lies less than most men about other things. He may be the most honest man ever born in the Mala. Elaine put a hand over her mouth, and Egwene struggled not to laugh. Nynaeve sat unmoved and obviously impatient. Sandar grimaced at the gray-haired woman, then apparently decided to ignore what she had said. He smiled at Nynaeve. I will admit that I'm curious about these thieves. I've known women thieves and bands of thieves, but I've never heard of a band of women thieves before, and I owe Mother Gwenna favors. His eyes seemed to record Nynaeve all over again. What do you charge? She asked sharply. To recover stolen goods, he said briskly. I ask the 10th part of the value of what I recover. For finding someone, I ask a silver mark for each person. Mother Gwenna says the things stolen have little value except to you, mistress. So I suggest you take that choice. He smiled again. He had very white teeth. I would not take money from you at all, except that the Brotherhood would frown on it. But I will take as little as I can. A copper or two, no more. I know a thief-taker, Elaine told him, from Shinar, a very respectable man. He carries a sword as well as a sword breaker. Why do you not? Sandar looked startled for a moment, and then upset with himself for being startled. He had not caught her hint, or else had decided to ignore it. You are not tyrant. I have heard of Shinar, mistress. Tales of frolics, and every man a warrior. His smile said these were tales for children. True stories, Egwene said. Or true enough. I've been to Shinar. He blinked at her and went on. I am not a lord, nor a wealthy merchant, nor even a soldier. The defenders do not trouble foreigners much for carrying swords, unless they need to stay long, of course. But I would be thrust into a cell under the stone. What I'm doing is I'm getting ready to deposit. His hand rubbed along his staff as if unconsciously. I do as well as may be, without a sword. My money into my bank, into my little stash, because if you don't and you die, they will take it as a death toll. So let's spread this evenly. I'm mistaken. Nynaeve looked into the purse thoughtfully before tightening the strings and putting it back into her pouch. Let's see, calculating here. For you to find, Master Sandar, with as much silver again when you do. Find them and we will recover our property ourselves. Minus. I will do that myself for less than this, he protested. And there's no need for extra reward. We divide that by... Have no fear, I'll take a bribe. 4. There is no fear of that, Islwyn agreed. I said he is up. Equals. Just do not believe him if he says he loves you. Okay, that's easy. Sandar glared at her. I pay the coin, Master Sandar, Nynaeve said firmly. So I choose what I am buying. So let's do, for this one, deposit. They may be together or not. The first is a Tarabona. She is a little taller than I, with dark eyes and pale, honey-colored hair that she wears in many small braids after Caravan fashion. Okay. Some men might think her pretty. That's not what I said. She is a I said 2, 6. She has long black hair with a white streak. 3, 4. She gave no names, and Sandar asked for them. Names were so easily changed. His smile was gone now that the business was at hand. 13 women she described as he listened intently, and when she was done, Egwene was sure he could have recited them back. 6, 3, 4. Mother Gwenna may have told you this, Nynaeve finished, but I will repeat it. These women are more dangerous than you can believe. Over a dozen have died at their hands already that I know of. 2. And I would not be surprised if that was only a drop of the blood on their hands. Sandar and Islwyn both blinked at that. 2. If they discover 6, you are asking after them, you will 4. Die. If they take you, they will make you tell where 6, we are. 3, and Mother Gwenna will probably 4. Die with us. The gray-haired woman looked disbelieving. Believe it, Nynaeve stared and demanded agreement. Believe it, or I'll take back the silver and find another with more brains. There we go. When I was young, Sandar said, voice serious. A cutpurse put her knife in my ribs because I thought... All right, let's see. So we got my stash empty, full, and my inventory
emptied. I need potions. So this is Drognan.
Egwene almost choked as he gave her a rueful grin.
He does potions, portal scrolls, and tomes of identity, which you don't need anymore.
But either way, I will fight them, and I will not frighten them away before you learn where they are. When he had donned his straw hat and clogs and departed by the back door, Elaine said, I hope he is overconfident. Alvin, I heard what he said, but he does understand that they are dangerous, does he not? He has never been a fool except for a pair of eyes or a pretty ankle, the gray-haired woman said. And that is a failure.
Okay, we close this up. So I'm stocked on my potions.
You will find these dark friends of yours. It will rain again before morning. Nynaeve shivered, despite the warmth of the room. I see the storm gathering.
Okay.
Aylwin only shook her head.
Let's go to the waypoint.
After they ate,
this is a waypoint. And it looks like we're in the Canyon of the Magi, looking for Taurash's tomb. I am grinding, on the other hand. Get my fingers up in there.
She fingered the stone Terangrial through the bosom of her dress.
Okay.
Where are they? What do they want in the heart?
Ooh, are you throwing shit at me? I'm gonna kick you in the booty. There we go.
What?
She does her own damage.
Aylwin showed them each to a bedroom on the second floor, but after she had gone to her own, they gathered in Egwene by the light of a single lamp. Egwene had already undressed her ship before it hung down her neck with the two rings.
No, that's not a map.
This was what they had done every night since leaving Tarvalon, with the sole exception of that night with the ice.
There's the map. Now what I did to pull up map was hit the scroll button. Ooh, flawless ruby.
Do you feel uneasy? Nynaeve said. Perhaps you are using it too often. We would still be in Tarvalon, scrubbing pots and hoping to find a black sister before a gray man found us if I had not. Egwene said sharply. Light. It ain't light. I'm snapping like a sulky child. She took a deep breath. Perhaps I am uneasy.
Okay.
Maybe it is because we are so close.
So, oh, who opened that door? Excuse me, guys.